everyone, welcome back. If you are new to my channel, my name is Avril and in today's video, I'll be sharing with you how to create this DIY grazing platter. Since I couldn't find anything that fit my countertop, I thought I would make my own. So stick around to see how it's done and don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell to support my channel and to be notified every time I upload a video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So guys, before we start putting our grazing board together, let's DIY our board. So here are a few things you will need for this project. You will need some wood planks, some wood screws, wood glue and any type of stain you already got in hand, and 2 handles. Once you have got all of your supplies together, you then place your planks to form your board, making sure it's flat and even on both sides. Here you see me using a piece of plank at the edge of the board to make sure it's evenly placed. Next, it's time to glue your planks together. Here I'm using Gorilla wood glue which I've already got in hand to glue my planks together. But at this stage, if you do not have Gorilla wood glue, you could use any type of wood glue you got in hand. I repeated this gluing process on all of my planks and set it aside to dry. At this stage, I would have preferred if I had some clamps to clamp my wood together, but I didn't have any in hand. But if you do so, please use them because it would help your wood to bind together evenly. Afterwards, while my plank was drying, I then used another piece of plank and cut it to length to fit my board. Next, using my measuring tape, I measured my desired length and afterwards, I applied my Gorilla wood glue onto my piece of plank and glued it vertically onto my board. I repeated this process on both sides of my board and then set it aside to dry, leaving some weight on it. Now my glue is all dry and is ready for its next step. Here I'm using a few wood screws which I've already got in hand that I'll be screwing onto my vertical piece of plank for more durability. I repeated this process on both sides and then flipped my board over for its next step. Next, using my orbital sander, I gave this board a good sanding. Once I was done with my sanding, I used a damp rag and wiped this board down clean. Afterwards, it was time to fix the handle onto my board. Next, using my measuring tape, I placed my handle onto my board and marked the areas which I needed to make a pilot hole. At this stage, the distance between the board and the handle depends on your personal preference. Afterwards, using my drill, I drilled in my pilot holes and then fixed my handle onto my board. Now the board is ready and it's time to stain it. Here I'm using a Minwax rub-on stain which I've already got in hand. At this stage you could use any type or color of stain you already got. Next, I put on my gloves and using a rag I rubbed on the stain onto my board. I repeated the staining process onto the entire board and set it aside to dry. Now my board is dry and it's time to give this board a distressed look. Next, using my orbital sander, I gave this board a good sanding until I got my desired look. Afterwards, I used a damp rag and wiped this board down clean. Next, I decided to use some wood blocks which I've already got in hand and I drilled some holes in it to use as a kebab holder. This is a simple and easy to do project if you want something to add on to your grazing board. For this next project, I decided to make my own table runner. So to create this, all you need is some material and an IKEA poster hanger. So guys, this is so simple and easy to do. The next step is once you have got all your supplies together, you then take your material and size it down to the poster hanger. Afterwards, you put it together as instructed. I repeated this process on both sides of my runner. Now my runner is ready to be placed onto my countertop. Here you see me using glue tack to secure my runner onto my countertop. At this stage, you could use double-side tape if you got any in hand. Now my table runner is all placed and it's time to set the board on top of my runner. Now the board is ready and it's time to start building your grazing board. So guys, before I started adding onto my board, I thought of placing some doilies onto my board. I did this because I wanted to protect my food as well as my board from any elements. If you do not have doilies, you could always use baking paper. The next step is to start building on your grazing board with all of your yummy treats until you get your desired look. So guys, I generally start off my grazing board by adding my chips and biscuits first and finish it off by adding my cheese and dips at the end because I want it to stay fresh until my guest arrives. So this is how my DIY grazing board turned out. Hope you guys like it. Okay guys, that's it for today. Hope you got inspired and enjoyed watching this video. Please give this video a big thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell to support my channel and to be notified every time I upload a video. Until next time, happy crafting!